All righty. Again, good afternoon. My name is Chantal, and I am a client relationship manager with Voya Employee Benefits. Today, I am going to review the benefit options offered by Douglas County School District through Voya Health Solutions, which is sometimes referred to as Voya Employee Benefits. So just a couple of public service announcements here before we get into the content. I will be both your host and your moderator today. And please feel free to submit any questions you might have in the chat function of today's Teams meeting. Xander, who is also my colleague, has joined our session today, and he's going to help keep me track of those questions that you may post in the chat. But again, feel free to do so, or you can certainly unmute yourself if you'd like to and ask the question verbally. But I'll certainly be able to address all of them. The session today, though, is designed to educate you on the benefit options offered in this year's annual enrollment by Voya Employee Benefits. And insurance is offered by Voya Health Solutions, and it is underwritten by ReliaStar Life Insurance Company, which is a member of the Voya family of companies. So for specific pricing, provisions, and benefit options, please refer to your enrollment materials that are available through your employer. And as this session is being recorded, again, as I mentioned before, it'll be available through your Voya Employee Benefits Resource Center website, and you can reference it during your annual enrollment session this year. But again, definitely lean into those human resources, your human resources team. They're a great resource and can assist you as well. So with all those public service announcements out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. All right. So did you know that among those financially stressed employees, 49%, I'm sorry, said that the money worries had a severe or major impact on their mental health, but also on their work productivity as well. 67% of those are struggling to meet their household expenses on time each month, and 1 in 4 have saved less than $1,000 for retirement, while more than half plan to postpone their retirement altogether. And life insurance, among other of the coverages that we'll discuss today, specifically for life insurance, 40% of those who are insured had wished that they had purchased their policies at a much younger age. So for your group term life insurance, your employer offers basic life insurance, which is the amount that they provide at no cost to you. And this also includes a matching amount for accidental death and dismemberment insurance. And that's a lot to say, so I'm going to refer to it as AD&D insurance. And what that is that it's additional coverage that if you were severely injured or die as a result of a covered accident, you'll get an additional matching benefit as well. You also have the option to elect coverage called supplemental life insurance with premium deductions that are taken directly from your paycheck. So how much does it cost? So again, just to reiterate that your basic life insurance and your basic accidental death and dismemberment insurance is provided to you by Douglas County School District at no cost. But for supplemental life insurance, if you're thinking about purchasing additional coverage, the rates are shown on your screen, are guaranteed until July 1st, 2028. And keep in mind too, as you look through these costs, that not only is it the cost for the supplemental life insurance, but you will also receive a matching amount of supplemental accidental death and dismemberment insurance as well. And I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm going to get my red pen out here. Let's say I'm age 41 and I purchased $50,000 in supplemental life and accidental death and dismemberment coverage. Well, the rate is 0.097 cents per 1,000 of coverage. So if I were to purchase, let's say 50,000 in coverage, since the rate is per 1,000, all I have to do is take that rate, multiply it by 50, and the monthly cost for that additional $50,000 in coverage for at age 41 is $4.85. Again, that's $4.85 per month. There is also matching rates for spouse coverage as well, if you wish to purchase additional coverage for your spouse. And then for those eligible children, please keep in mind that this rate is for all children. So whether you have one child or you're a family of 3 children, the cost is the same just as if you only had one child. And as far as the benefit schedule is concerned, again, your Douglas County School District provides the basic life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance at no cost to you. And you are considered an eligible employee if you're actively at work and working a minimum of, you're scheduled to work a minimum of 20 hours or more per week. And so for those administrative, professional, or technical employees that are on the call today, your basic life and AD&D benefit amount is 3 times your annual earnings. And for this year, currently right now, the maximum benefit amount is $200,000, but Douglas County School District for next year, starting July 1st, has increased that maximum benefit amount up to $300,000. And for those of you that are certified or classified members, currently your benefit amount on the basic life and AD&D plan is 1 times your annual salary. Well, starting July 1st of 2025, that's going to increase to 2 times your salary. And the maximum benefit amount is going from $50,000 currently up to $100,000. So that's fantastic news, and certainly appreciate Douglas County School District for providing a richer benefits plan this coming year. And again, just to reiterate, no additional cost to you at all. So good news.
The maximum's 100,000.
If you want to purchase additional coverage for employees, you can choose $10,000 to $500,000 and $10,000 increments. And again, it's supplemental life and coverage that also includes accidental death and dismemberment coverage as well. And for spouses, you can, for spouse coverage, you can elect $10,000 to a maximum of $250,000 in $10,000 increments. And children, for child coverage, you can elect $5,000 to $20,000 in $5,000 increments. So just a couple things here is that as the employee, you do not have to enroll in supplemental life coverage in order to enroll your spouse in coverage and or your children in coverage. So that's an option for you there. Again, the employee does not have to enroll in supplemental life for the spouse and child to participate. But one other thing I wanted to mention as well is that there may be a situation where your spouse also happens to be a Douglas County School District employee. So just want to get one little caveat here that if you have a spouse or a child that is eligible for coverage as an employee, they can't have coverage under your plan and their own plan. So if they're an employee, if a spouse or child is an employee of Douglas County School District, then they're covered under the plan as the employee, and you will not be able to purchase additional coverage on those family members. Now, for that supplemental life plan, whether it's the employee or the spouse, it may be a requirement for evidence of insurability or health questionnaire prior to that coverage being approved. So during this current enrollment period that started today, for any new coverage, or and what I mean by new is that you're enrolling as a late entrant for the first time, where you waived coverage when you're a new employee and now you're considering enrolling coverage for the first time, or you may be increasing your existing coverage. So for any new or increased coverage requests for this annual enrollment, you will be required to fill out a health questionnaire for that amount of coverage, and the same also for the spouse. For any new or increased supplemental life coverage for the spouse, evidence of insurability will be required, and that evidence of insurability must be approved before that coverage goes into effect. But for children, evidence of insurability is not required for children at all. So whether you're enrolling your children for the first time or you're increasing their current coverage, health questionnaire is not required for the children whatsoever. Okay, moving on. What else is included in your life insurance coverage? So there is an accident. I've got accidental death and dismemberment here, AD&D on my mind here. The first bullet point is accelerated death benefits. So let's say if your medical condition confines you permanently to a hospital, or maybe you're diagnosed with a terminal illness, you can exercise a certain portion of your death benefit while you're still living. So that's included in the policy. We've already talked at length about the accidental death and dismemberment piece. For conversion or portability, let's say, for example, if you should leave Douglas County School District and you want to take your coverage with you, there's portability options where you can take the current coverage as it stands today, which is a term life insurance policy, take that coverage with you on a direct bill basis. But you also have the option of converting it to a whole life insurance policy, which gains cash value over time. And that is also a direct bill policy. So there's some options there if you should leave Douglas County School District where you can take your coverage with you. And then also too, if you are deemed totally disabled, there is a waiver of life insurance premium included in the policy as well. So if you're totally disabled, you can apply, you can submit for that claim. And if approved, you'll remain on the life insurance plan, but your premiums would be completely waived. And just as a reminder, for payroll deductions, the supplemental life and AD&D coverage is conveniently payroll deducted. So no need to write checks or remember to write checks. It is conveniently payroll deducted through your HR team. And then other available services that are included with your life insurance policy is our funeral planning, will prep, and concierge services. So basically it is bereavement support, not only for beneficiaries, but also for other family members going through this process, or if you're an employee who had lost a dependent, a spouse, or a child, bereavement support is available for you as well. That's included in this policy, along with the funeral planning or will preparation services, and then also travel assistance as well. So if you're eligible just for the basic life plan, you don't have to enroll in the supplemental life. You also receive the advantages of our travel assist program. So whether you might be traveling over 100 miles or more away from home. So you're living here in Denver and you go to Disney World in Florida and you need travel assistance, let's say for medical services or something along those lines, emergency medical transport. Travel assistance is automatically included in your policy. Your dependents can take advantage of these services as well. And as I mentioned, emergency medical transport, it also includes travel assistance services, medical assistance services, and security assistance services, especially if you're going to travel to a foreign country for an extended period of time. There are some exclusions and limitations to the policy. So for example, on the supplemental life insurance, that additional portion of life insurance that you purchase, it does have a 1-year suicide exclusion from the effective date of the coverage or an effective date of the increase of coverage if you had existing coverage and were increasing it. So there is a 1-year suicide exclusion. For basic life insurance, the coverage that's provided to you by Douglas County School District at no cost does not have any exclusions, but the accidental death and dismemberment insurance does have exclusions. And I'll give you an example would be like if there was a fatality due to a car accident and it was deemed that there was, drugs or alcohol involved on the part of the insured, that could exclude it from benefits. But I do recommend you could always reference your certificate of coverage that's available to you if you would like to read those details in further. Okay, so that ends our life insurance portion of my presentation today. I just want to pause and remind you, if you have any questions, you should be able to post those in the chat. Feel free to do so if you'd like to. Moving on to critical illness insurance. In the United States, someone has a heart attack every 40 seconds. That's almost unbelievable. But yes, the statistics say that someone in the United States has a heart attack every 40 seconds. And critical illness, there are more than just medical bills to pay after a heart attack or a stroke or other unexpected covered medical condition. So critical illness insurance provides a benefit payment that can help with those additional medical bills. But the thing about critical illness insurance, it doesn't replace your medical coverage, but the benefit payments from the plan, they don't go to pay your medical bills or your treatments or to your doctor's office or to the hospital. Those checks go directly to you, and you can use those monies however you want. So maybe, for example, you need help paying your mortgage or groceries, gas in the car. You can use your critical illness benefit payment for whatever you like. Critical illness insurance is guaranteed issued, and what that means to you is that there's no medical questions required in order to enroll in the coverage. So diving into this a little bit further, how does it work? So we have covered illnesses or conditions, and we broke them out in groups. We call them modules. But most of the benefits are payable at 100% of the benefit amount that you elect. And again, just want to reiterate that you can refer to your certificate of coverage for a full description of the benefits, because quite frankly, this session would get quite long if I went into that amount of detail. So I do recommend referring you to your certificate of coverage. And there's other resources as well, which I'll share with you at the end of today's session, but also refer to that certificate for any exclusions or limitations also. And so, for example, on your base module, and remember I was talking about those modules, critical illness coverage will cover for a diagnosed heart attack, cancer, stroke, maybe a type 1 diabetes diagnosis. There's some others listed here. Severe burns. Go to the next page. There's several here. There is an enhanced cancer module that's included in your plan. So for example, if you were diagnosed with a benign brain tumor, that's paid out 100%. Now, skin cancer, on the other hand, very prevalent here in Colorado. That benefit payment is 10% of the amount of coverage that you elect. Whereas I mentioned before, benign brain tumor is paid at 100% of the amount of coverage that you elect. Multiple sclerosis, ALS, both paid out at 100% of the amount of coverage that you elect. Moving on to the next page, Parkinson's disease, or maybe dementia, advanced or Alzheimer's, that's also paid out at 100%. So these are just some of the examples of the critical illness diagnoses that are covered under this plan. Specific just for children, though, for insured children, there are several covered conditions also included in the plan that are paid out at 100% of business. Top one there being cerebral palsy or other congenital birth defects. So for critical illness, how much does it cost, and are you eligible, and what coverage is available? So I'm going to start over here on the right-hand side of your screen, eligibility and benefit amount. So again, just like for the other plans, if you are actively at work employee, you're scheduled to work 20 or more hours per week, you can enroll in 5, 10, 20, or $30,000 in coverage. And then so long as you are enrolled in coverage, your spouse can enroll in coverage as well. As spouse amounts are available at $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000, but it cannot exceed the employee's benefit amount. And then for children, any eligible children up to age 26, child coverage is available at either $5,000 or $10,000 levels. And again, the child coverage amount cannot exceed the amount that is elected by the employee. A couple other caveats as well, and I think I already mentioned, in order for the spouse and the child to be eligible for coverage, the employee must enroll. But just to want to reiterate, no double coverage. So if you have a spouse that is also an employee of Douglas County School District and your spouse is enrolled underneath their own plan, you cannot cover that your spouse as a dependent under your policy. So I hope that makes sense. And how much does it cost? And I'm sorry for the small print here. But like, for example, and I was talking about on the life insurance portion, if I was 41 years of age, I wanted to elect $5,000 in coverage of myself. That would be $4.05 a month. If I wanted to increase that, let's say to 30,000, it would be $24.37 or 30 cents a month. And then the spouse coverage rates are down here as well. And then for children, it's $250 a month for 5,000 in coverage, or $5,000 a month for $10,000 in coverage. Oh my gosh, it's late here in a Monday afternoon. Just keep in mind for children coverage, though, that that covers all the children that are eligible for the plan up to age 26. So whether you have one child or maybe four, if you have four children, you're only paying the price of one. Some sample payout amounts, like I mentioned before, heart attack, cancer, stroke, a major organ transplant, or coronary artery bypass, all paid at 100% of the benefit amount that you elect. And just as an example, let's say, this is a real life example, the McCains. And Mike McCain, he works full-time. His wife, Molly, stays at home with their two children. Mike had critical illness coverage through his employer, and he insured his spouse, Molly, as well. But she experienced a heart attack, which was a covered condition under the plan. She's expected to make a full recovery. So what happened is that following the claim submission, which was later approved, the benefits for the critical illness plan was sent directly to the McCains, and they used that money to help pay for her continued treatment. So for example, that could be your out-of-pocket deductibles for your medical plan, or again, you can use the monies however you want. If you need help paying the mortgage, grocery bills, gas, you name it, you can use the benefits however you'd like. And lastly, as far as claim filing is concerned, that is all done online at voya.com/claims, where you can submit your claim. You can upload securely any supporting medical documentation. And what I love about using our online Voya claim system is that you will in turn receive an automated email confirmation of receipt with a confirmation number that we received the claim, which is great because if you mail it in or you fax it in, you don't get, confirmation of receipt until several days later. Whereas you'll get it instantaneously. And then also that once the claim is initially reviewed, you'll get a secondary email that will provide you with your claim number, where you can always return back to the online Voya Claim Center and you can track the status of your claim online. You can always give us a call and talk to a claims examiner as well if you prefer, but you can track your claim online as well. All right. So that ends the critical illness section of my presentation. And again, I just want to reiterate, any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll go ahead and answer those for you today. But continuing on with accident insurance, one statistic is that the CDC estimated unintentional falls were the leading cause of injuries that were treated by the emergency department. And whether you're cleaning the gutters or you could be in a yoga class, soccer practice, I mean, life offers plenty of opportunities for accidental injuries. And when an injury happens, accident insurance can help. So again, like the critical illness plan, the accident insurance will pay you benefits where you can use the monies however you'd like. Accident insurance, like the critical illness plan, is also guaranteed issue, meaning there's no health questionnaire needed at all. So accident coverage, how much does it cost for employee-only coverage? It's $5.70 a month. If you just want to cover yourself and your spouse, $11.22 a month. Employee and children, $13.23 a month, or family coverage. And again, it covers all the children, eligible children up to age 26. So for family coverage, that's $18.75 a month. One thing I do want to point out, again, like the critical illness plan, is that if your spouse is also an employee of Douglas County School District and your spouse is enrolled in employee coverage, you cannot add a spouse as a dependent underneath your plan. So just want a little caveat there. Same thing for the critical illness policy. And then also too for your children. So same thing is that if both you and your spouse, although the premium covers all of your eligible children, you both can't insure your children under two separate policies. So either one, but not both parents, if both parents happen to be employees of Douglas County School District, may not cover the same children under both plans. But the parent who is covering the children, let's say they stop being insured as an employee, then the other parent can obviously elect to cover the children. So what's covered underneath the accident plan? Well, there's a whole list of items, medical services that are covered, and this is just to name a few. So again, I'll share with you resources at the end of today's session on where to obtain a copy of that list. But basically, accident insurance pays you benefits for specific injuries and events resulting from a covered accident. This is 24-hour coverage. So using the picture as an example, when soccer playing, if there was an accident on the field, something happened to your child, you had to take your child to the emergency room, you would get a benefit amount of $200. And if their stitches were needed, possibly up to $400. If there was a fracture without surgery, that benefit amount would be $18 or $1,800. With surgery, it would be $3,600. Physical therapy, $40 up to 6 sessions. If there was a concussion involved, that benefit amount is $175. Follow-up doctor treatments, $75. So basically, these benefits stack on top of each other. So the more medical services you receive, the more the accident plan will pay. And as for the critical illness plan, the same thing goes for the accident plan. There's no offsetting with your medical health care coverage. So even if your medical health care coverage paid for these medical services, Your accident plan will pay these benefits regardless. And again, you can use the monies however you like. Eligibility. So as an employee, if you're actively at work, scheduled to work at least 20 hours per week, you can certainly enroll in the plan. And so long as you're enrolled, you can enroll your spouse and your children up to age 26. And what I love about your accident plan is it also includes a wellness benefit. So it's an annual benefit, and that's not from July 1 to July 1. I'm talking about calendar year from January 1 to January 1. It's an annual benefit that if you complete an eligible health screening test, you automatically receive a payment. So for employees, that's $100. For spouse, your insured spouse, that's $100. And for children, it is also 100% of your benefit, or $100, up to a maximum of $200 for all children. Again, it's paid once per calendar year if you're insured underneath the plan. And I'll give you some examples of what would be eligible for that wellness benefit. But I also, before I leave this page, I also wanted to mention that what else is included in your accident plan? There's a sports accident benefit. So if there was an accident, you're involved in an accident, and it was a officiated sport, if you will, like the soccer player, there's an extra 25% of benefits that are available. And then you can continue your coverage. So for example, let's say after you've been actively enrolled in the plan and you had to take a leave of absence or some time after work after your coverage went into effect, you could continue your coverage and stay on the plan as long as premiums are paid throughout your leave, or and I'm sorry, or I meant, and the accident policy also includes a catastrophic accident coverage as well. So circling back on the wellness benefit, it again, as I mentioned, it provides an annual benefit payment if you complete a health screening test. So immunizations, whether it be a COVID vaccine, maybe the flu shot, you would be eligible for this benefit. Another one that I rely on every year is my routine eye exam, or even your routine dental exam would be another pre-screening that would be benefit eligible. This is not an all-inclusive list. There's no way I could include everything in this presentation that would qualify for the wellness benefit. But what I love about the wellness benefit too is that you don't have to provide supporting medical documentation to submit your claim. You could be in your dentist's office, in the waiting room, on your cell phone, and you can go to our online claim center, start the claim, and all we need from you is the date of your dental exam, the name of your dentist, and again, just confirmation of what exam that you're taking. That's it. We do not need supporting medical documentation in order to pay this benefit. So also accident insurance, we approach the claims process what we refer to as the intuitive claims process. So in this example, Rhonda fell while carrying groceries and she ended up in the emergency room. So she submitted an accident claim. It was a slip and fall. And after reviewing Rhonda's claim, she submitted for her emergency room visit, and she had an x-ray, and come to find out she had a fractured foot. So she did have accident coverage, and her plan also included follow-up doctor visits and medical equipment. Well, we already know if you have a fractured foot, you're going to have follow-up doctor visits, and you're also going to need some sort of a medical equipment, like either a boot or maybe you need crutches. So we're going to automatically pay for those benefits without requiring additional documentation, because we know based on your injury, you're going to need those items. So we try to make the claims process very easy. And then other available programs as well. I know we talked about travel insurance with your basic life coverage. Travel insurance is also included with your accident coverage as well. There are certain exclusions and limitations included in the accident plan. So for example, if you're riding or driving a motor vehicle in a race or a stunt show, you have an accident, I'm sorry for those high risk takers that those accidents would not be covered, or for your bungee jumpers or parachuters, I'm sorry, those any accidents resulting from those type of activities would not be covered. So there are a few exclusions or limitations, but again, it is 24-hour coverage. Okay, I'm checking the chat. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to move on to our last section, which is the hospital indemnity insurance. And oh gosh, this dollar amount is probably too low these days. Hospital costs average $2,883 per day throughout the US. And with hospital indemnity insurance, just like the other two plans, the benefits go directly to you. So out-of-pocket costs from a stay in a hospital or other medical facility can certainly be overwhelming. And those expenses, they add up. And so hospital indemnity insurance can certainly help with that. And again, the benefit payments go directly to you. They don't go to the hospital, the treating physician. Those payments go directly to you. You can use those monies however you like. And the coverage is guarantee issued, meaning there's no health questionnaire. So you could have a pre-existing condition, like maybe you're expecting right now. You can, even though you have a pre-existing condition, you can still enroll in hospital indemnity insurance, and still be benefit eligible for the birth of that baby. So how does it work? So when your stay begins, you first get in a hospital admission benefit. So depending on what plan you enroll in, there's a high plan and there's a low plan. The hospital admission is on the low plan is $1,000, and then on the high plan, it's $2,000. But if you were admitted to a critical care unit, that admission benefit on the low plan is $2,000, whereas on the high plan, it's $4,000. So that's the admission benefit. And the benefit is payable up to once per confinement and up to a maximum of 8 admissions per calendar year. So I hope you're not visiting the hospital more than 8 times in a calendar year. But if you are admitted, you get the maximum is 8 admission benefits per calendar year. On the second day, so for each following day that you stay in the facility, you'll be eligible for a fixed daily benefit payment, and the benefit amount and the maximum number of days depends on the facility type. So for example, if you were confined in a hospital for up to 30 days, each day on the low plan, you would receive a benefit of $100. For the daily benefit on the high plan, it's $200. Or for the critical care unit, that maximum benefit is for 15 days. The low plan pays $200 a day. High plan is $400 a day. Or maybe you are admitted to a rehabilitation facility. You get for the 30 days maximum per confinement, that's $100 a day on the low plan, $200 a day on the high plan. There's also an observation unit benefit that is included in your policy as well. Again, $100 on the low plan, $100 on the high plan. And then following that, and I mentioned earlier about if there's anyone out there that is expecting, we do have coverage for newborn children as well. So let's say if you have a new addition for the family and you've already enrolled in a hospital indemnity child coverage. So the new child would receive benefits just as all of your other children would. So, because you already have the coverage. But if you do have a child, a new addition to the family, and you don't have child coverage, there is a one-time benefit of $100 that is payable for that newborn child's confinement to hospital due to birth. Now, there's no admission benefit that's payable to the newborn. Again, if you don't already have coverage. If you don't already have coverage, you get a one-time lump sum benefit, $100 for the child. But of course, if the birthing parent is insured underneath the plan, their confinement to the hospital is benefit eligible. Okay, so far so good. How much does it cost? The employee must be enrolled in coverage. If we were in the low plan, which again, that's that $100 daily benefit, that's $9.62 a month. But if you want to enroll in the high plan, which is the $200 daily benefits, that's $19.44 a month. And then I've also included here the cost for your employee and spouse plan, or if you just want to enroll employee and child coverage, or if you want the whole family, I've included those costs here on the slide. And just as a reminder, as an employee, so long as you're actively at work and scheduled to work at least 20 or more hours per week, you're eligible to enroll. And so long as you enroll, your spouse and any children up to age 26 can enroll also. And I have an example here of the hospital indemnity insurance. So Elise had the flu symptoms and was diagnosed with pneumonia and admitted to the hospital. She was there for several days, but was discharged with antibiotics. But because her husband had hospital indemnity insurance through his employer and she was insured underneath his plan, she was eligible for coverage because of her hospitalization. And what she used the benefits for was those out-of-pocket medical costs and other expenses because of the hospital stay. But again, you can use the monies however you like. And you can also file this claim, as I've mentioned before, on the accident and the critical illness on our online Voya Claim Center, which is at voya.com/claims, where after the submission, you'll receive an automated confirmation of receipt and a secondary follow-up email that will provide you with your claim number once it's initially reviewed, and then you can track the status of your claim online if you'd like to. There are some exclusions and limitations to the policy as well. Again, just focusing in on you thrill seekers for any hang gliding incidences or bungee jumping, any injuries because of those high-risk activities will not be covered on the hospital indemnity plan. But I do want to take note that there is an exception to this exclusion. So the exception being that if you are confined or your spouse or children are confined and they're insured, they're confined to an eligible hospital or rehabilitation facility for the purposes of like drug or alcohol treatment, that is an exception to the exclusions. In those situations, they are benefit eligible. And finally, some disclosures. Okay, so I'm on my last slide for the day. I'm checking the chat. I don't have any questions listed there. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. But just wanted to give you some special dates. So your enrollment, I believe, starts today and goes through May 12th. So plenty of time to do some homework, check out the benefits that are available for you. And I have some resources here. So you can log into your HR system and your Workday in order to review the benefits that are available and make your elections. If you have general questions about the coverages that Douglas County School District provides for you, you can call our call center. That number is 877-236-7564. Again, that's for general questions. But you can also lean on your HR team. They're a fantastic team. They'll be able to help you as well. And then if you happen to have your cell phone handy, feel free to take a snapshot of this QR code. And then I did provide the website here for Douglas County School District. So this is their website specifically just for all things Voya. So information about your life insurance benefits, and then your benefit offerings for accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity are posted out there as well. You'll see employee brochures are out there, some quick highlights of each of the plans. There's even videos, short videos out there that will, they're about 30 to 60 seconds in length that will help describe how these benefits can help you. So it's a lot of resources out there. And in fact, if you're insured on the plans now, you can even start a claim directly from that website. So if you're already enrolled in the accident plan and you're listening to today's session and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I forgot to file my wellness benefit, you can certainly do that by going to Douglas County School District's Voya Employee Benefits Resource Center, and you can initiate your claim from there. So I hope today's session was very helpful. I know I went through quite a bit of information. But again, I hope that it was effective for you. Happy to stay on the line here. I know we have about another 10 minutes or so. If there's any questions that you'd like, you're more than welcome to drop them in the chat, or I'd be happy to answer any questions for you live if you'd like me to. Just know that your phone or your computer might be muted, so you might want to unmute yourself if you have any specific questions I can help with. And if not, again, I just want to thank everybody for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and take care. Thank you so much.
Will you be sharing this slide deck with us?
Cheryl, I think that Cheryl, was that you who asked that question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I've shared a copy of this presentation with your HR team, and I know they'll should be sharing it, I'm sure. But again, don't forget about the Employee Benefits Resource Center microsite as well. There's lots of information out there also. Cheryl, I hope this was helpful.
Yes, ma'am. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
And it was a pleasure speaking with you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Take care.